First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. And before we get started, I would like to mention some of the people who are here today. Mayor Fenty, Kwame Brown, DOES, Win the Washington Interface Network, representatives from Tommy Wales' office, the World Bank, Club Mirrors, and my partners, ERCPCP, Eastern River Strength and Family Collaborative, Far Southeast Collaborative, Natural Nature, Positive Nature, and many more. If anybody left out, please forgive me. ANC members, local newspapers and news, I thank you for coming out for this positive event that we're about to announce. Something very, very positive is about to take place in our community. And hold on, I got you, Mr. White. And Mr. White, the community liaison for Raleigh Place. Let's give him a round of applause, y'all. He the one that let us on this block. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. And that's real, because we tried to open up an office across the street from Ballou and somebody stopped it. So I just want to thank you for letting us come on this block and do what we do, man. I really appreciate it. Now I start my opening statements of why we really here today. I first would like to thank everybody for coming out for the historic moment. A day when we are asking for brothers and sisters in the street to step up to the plate to put a code in the streets that make drive-bys, or should I say fake-bys, shootings against the code of the street. Just like snitching has been a part of the code, we want drive-bys to be a part of being no part of the code. If you do a drive-by, we want it to be that you're not accepted by the streets. You can't go to jail and be comfortable if you ride down the street and just shoot, faking like you doing something, and kill an innocent sister or brother or child or grandmother. And one time, you couldn't go back to the community and brag on doing things like that. So we saying we know brothers and sisters on the streets had the power to do this, and we asking them to step to the plate. Come on over here, Kirkbone. Got to get them strong brothers back on the street. We asking them to step to the plate to say, we have the answers to solving our own problems. The government can't do it alone. The police can't do it alone. It's going to take people from the community who are respected by the community to step up and be the soldiers that they really are, and stop being a bunch of cowards. Because it takes a coward to blow your brother brains out for no reason. It takes a coward to see your brother brains get blown out and don't say nothing about it. Because that's not snitching. We got the definition of snitching messed up. See, when slavery came in and somebody told on a runaway slave, that was called snitching. But during that time, if you killed your brother, the slaves would have took care of you. You didn't have to go tell nobody. So we got the definition of slavery mixed up. Snitching mixed up. If you're an honest citizen, it's your duty as a citizen to tell when you see something. As a matter of fact, it's not telling, it's doing the right thing. Now, I respect the code in the street. If you commit a crime, you should do the time, and you shouldn't take somebody down with you, because that's what a lot of dudes do. They go out here and act like they're gangsters, and then when they get caught, they want to tell on everybody and don't take responsibility for what they did. But that's only a small percentage of our population. Everybody else, it's your duty as a citizen to stand up and say, we're not having it no more. We're getting pushed out of this town right now because of gentrification. Robertson Place, a whole community is being moved because HUD took away the vouchers because of 20 people that kept the violence going. So those 20 people would have stood up. Is that snitching, or is that doing the right thing? Is it worth 20 people moving, having the whole community move? Because guess what? Parkland will be next as the violence keeps up. 640 will be next as the violence keeps up. And guess what? You won't see no people like us around here. And we don't have nobody to blame but ourselves if we keep on being a bunch of cowards and don't stand up and do something about it. We also gonna reach out to the brothers in Oak Hill, to the brothers in DC jail. I got a letter right here that Aisha has. We get letters every day from brothers in the prisons who want to do the right thing and asking us, what can they do? And the letters we're going to start sending back to brothers like this. Another letter we just got today is, when these jokers come into prison for doing these drive-bys, don't make it comfortable for them. Because you shouldn't be able to walk around like you that did something good. You should be treated just like a rapist when you come in there, because you raping our community when you take an innocent life. When a little girl is killed, when a 23-year-old mother is killed, and she has 2 siblings that got to be raised without a parent. When a 13-year-old boy is killed, we cannot tolerate that, and that's what gangsters do. So it's time for the real gangsters to step up and say we not having it no more. We understand a lot of things. We understand about the beast, but you got to come to the table. When we come to you, you got to squash the beef. You got to squash the beef. I lost my brother to violence. And a lot of other people out here lost people to violence. And if everybody said they were going to retaliate, then none of us would be able to walk the streets. If everybody said they was going to do something, nobody would be able to walk the streets. And we got to understand, if we don't step up right now, we're in a world of trouble. 5,000 people in Ward 8 are about to lose tariff dollars. If we don't get into the streets and get to these people and take the resources to these people and hold people accountable, we in trouble. So I'm asking everybody to step up to the plate and do what we got to do. But most of all, the people in the streets, it's your day. It's your time to step up, just like Paul did, who was once the #1 crucifier of Christians and stepped up to the plate and recruited more than anybody. Like Jesus did, went into the community and grabbed the people, wasn't scared of the people, didn't act like they had a disease. He went out and got them. That's what we got to do. The soldiers, it's time for us to step up. I want to bring the mayor up and let him say a few words. I also want to thank him from Channel 16 who's been covering this, and they're going to do commercials with people like Big G and other leaders from the go-go community about these drive-bys and about stopping the violence and saying, bro, enough is enough. It's time for us to step up and be real soldiers. So I thank you for letting your agency step forward. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the representative from the DC Teachers Union. Oh, Marion Barry, how you doing? Mayor for life. And what I want to say about Marion Barry, this man wrote a letter for me 12 years ago. If it wasn't for this man, probably wouldn't be no Peaceoholics when they were trying to send me to New Jersey. And that's why I say you got to go and reach brothers in the streets and help them and believe in them. He believed in me, and that letter saved my life. And that's what we got to do. Blue Sky Construction's out here. All these guys from Blue Sky Construction. A local small business who's getting DC contracts and hiring brothers straight off the corner. Say, you know what? We asking y'all to get off the street, but we coming with something. We coming with jobs that are going to pay you $14.50 and $17.50 an hour. And guess what they did? They got off the corner. So we need to have more of these businesses that's making all this money in D.C. come back and stop saying our children are unemployable and offer them some of these jobs so we can get them off the corner and hold them accountable. Because if I come and offer you a job and you don't take it, then guess who else coming after you? The police coming after you. We cannot let brothers sit on the corners and kill each other and think it's all right because we saving their lives. My life was saved by me getting locked up. I did 4 years. My brother didn't do a day. He got away, but he's dead right now. He got killed a month after I was incarcerated. I know God saved me. I know jail saved me. And I got locked up 5 times before that. So I wasn't paying attention. So I needed to get locked up. Some of us need to be saved. And we got to be real about this and stop faking. Stop pump faking like the youngins say. We got to keep it real, keep it gangster. And gangster is we no longer are going to tolerate our brothers and sisters killing each other on the street. All right. So I'd like to bring you forward, Marion.
Well, I want to thank the Peaceoholics for their continued great efforts. I said this before. The Peaceoholics do with just a little bit of budget what it would take the D.C. government in many ways we could probably never do, even for 10 times as much. And so let's give another big round of applause for the Peaceoholics, everything they've done. I want to thank both council members Barry and Brown for their hard efforts. And I think all of us would agree that you have to have the police department doing their job. Without the police department, there would be lawlessness and a real sense of disorder. But even when we have a police department that's doing their job 100%, as excellent as they can, we know that in Washington, D.C., like in other big cities, there are still going to be problems. And that is why I'm glad to be here to talk about what can be done beyond just policing the neighborhoods and beyond just arresting our way out of the problem. First of all, I agree that there has to be more communication coming out of the communities. You go to the police department, you say, well, what's the number one way we solve crimes? Well, they get tips from the community. Mo and I were on Taylor Street, I think it was about 2 months ago. We were sitting in the living room of a woman who had lost her daughter, and there were some teenagers there who knew the person who had been deceased, and we were talking about providing information to the police, and one of the teenagers said, it's scary. No one's going to come forward because they're fearful. Well, if we don't come forward, then the cycle is just going to continue. Because as Mo said to the teenager that day, in a lot of communities, if something bad happens, you could fill a bus with the number of people who want to come forward with information. And we have to have that same mentality in all of our communities. And so we in the District of Columbia government will do whatever is possible. I want to say that we think it's also not just about policing and arresting people. In addition to having the first town hall at the jail, in addition to making sure that the Peaceoholics are more involved in the schools and other groups like them, so it's not just about security officers, in addition to trying fixing the schools in general and making sure that all of our kids get a great education. Today, we're very pleased to announce that we are extending our summer youth jobs program from August 3rd to at least August 17th. And hopefully all the way through the first day of school, so these 14,500 young people who have been doing positive things in our city for the past 2 months will be able to continue it. But you've got my support 100%, and thank you for what you're doing. God bless you.
Next, I'd like to bring up the 2 council members. So I go by seniority. Our first real mayor, Marion Barry, and the man who I love so much because you're an example to our people that you can go through adversity and stand back up on your 2 feet. And that, yes, we have to be held accountable for what we do, but we can't never give up. And you got to continue to fight for the people. So I'd like to bring you forward to say a few words. I know you tired of this violence. You say enough is enough, right?
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let me thank Jahar and Mo and all the Peaceoholics for your leadership. Let's give these young people here a great round of applause who've come forward. Say enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Stop the drive-bys.
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 All right, we are here to not just talk, but to act and to do something. And Peaceoholics can set the example of what it is to develop a new code in the streets. I understand the snitching code. But as he said, to tell somebody who killed somebody, it's not snitching. It's the right thing to do. Y'all agree with that?
Yes.
It's the right thing to do. Go against the grain. Don't do what others want you to do. Do the right thing, right?
Right.
Do the right thing.
Right.
Stop the killings. Stop the violence. I've been to too many funerals of teenagers. I must have been at least to 60 funerals, Mr. Mayor, for these teenagers. I've seen a 13-year-old, not very far from here, and went to his funeral about 6 months ago. I've gone to 14-year-old funerals. Went to Cynthia Gray's funeral out in Benning Heights and Benning Terrace. And so I'm tired. Are y'all tired of that?
Yes.
Tired of that?
Yes.
Stop the killings. Let's develop this code. When you go into jail, if you shot somebody on a drive-by, make it uncomfortable. And we understand what that means, don't we, Mo?
Yes, we do.
We know what that means, don't we?
Yes, we do.
What that means, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Make it what?
Uncomfortable.
Make it what?
Uncomfortable.
We're not going to take it anymore, right?
That's right.
Now, in addition to all of what we talked about, Mr. Mayor, we need some full-time and some part-time jobs all year round.
That's right. That's right.
All year round.
Yep.
Now, the council put $5 million in the budget. We're going to see if that's enough. But we're going to work together
That's right.
to make sure that every young person who wants to work part-time in the school year can work.
That's right.
That's right.
It's got to work. It's got to work. to work. It's not enough to tell these guys stop hustling to offer them an alternative.
That's right.
For the hustlers out here, it's economics.
Yeah.
It's about rent. It's about looking good. It's about driving a nice car, right? So if you're going to get that, do it the right way. You know, I have a Rolex watch. It took me, I don't have it on today. It took me 7 years of saving money to buy it. I like nice things too. But I want to do it the right way. We're going to do it the right way now?
Yes.
The right way?
Yes.
Right way?
Yes.
Stop the violence.
Stop the violence.
Stop the violence.
Keep the peace.
Keep the peace.
Stop the
Stop the
violence.
violence. Keep the peace. Thank you, and God bless you.
Let's get the mayor for life and the mayor, our current mayor, a round of applause. He's about to put up a legacy now. What you gonna do? About 12 years and retire? About 12?
Help the people.
Help the people. All right. Next, I'd like to bring up Kwame Brown, a brother who stays in the streets, talking to the people and touching the people. He catching over Adrian. You know, his shoes almost got as much miles as Adrian got on. And he really goes out to the community, and he's fighting for more people and more youth to get jobs, not just summer jobs, but jobs that they can apply themselves and learn a skill and sustain themselves in a place where the cost of living is over like $42,000 and not live in poverty in this city, and it's rising. So we got to make sure these young people get some real jobs, not in pot pies, but some real jobs where they can stay here. And I'd like to take my hat off to you for the work you've done and the commitment that you've had to our people.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, let me thank the Peaceoholics. Let's give Mo and Jahar, let's give them a round of applause again. It's a great occasion when we're talking about changing the code and making it uncomfortable for those that do come by and do drive-by shootings in our neighborhoods and our community. It needs to be very uncomfortable. It doesn't need to be uncomfortable to the victims and to the parents that it happens to. See, if it happened to someone sitting up here, then we want to change the code. So let's change the code for everyone. So anytime there's a drive-by and something happens, there's something called a consequence to these actions. I want to give the mayor a round of applause for extending these summer jobs. Let's give him a round of applause extending these summer jobs. Not only that, it's just not about changing the code, but it's a commitment from the administration side as we're extending these summer jobs. But at the same time, it's commitment, the mayor's commitment to work with the chief of police to make sure that people are comfortable to go talk and give us the information that's needed to catch these criminals on the streets. And I think that's a commitment that a lot of people don't give the mayor credit for, but I'm going to give him credit for working with the chief so people feel comfortable to go talk. The problem we have is that people feel uncomfortable giving up this information, thinking that their lives are going to be on the line for giving up this information. So I want to thank the mayor and the chief for working on a new strategy to deal with that issue. So when people do come and they do talk about what is taking place, they feel comfortable. The second thing is we have to give Blue Sky Construction, let's give them a round of applause. The reason why I say that it's a three-tier approach, right? Not only do we have the administration extending summer jobs, the administration making sure people can feel comfortable snitching, the Peaceoholics and the whole family making sure that we change the code so people can go snitch, or go not snitch, but just tell, whatever you're going to call it, it's just wrong. You know, I had a grandmother and a granddaddy taught me right from wrong, and when you see somebody doing wrong that's affecting our neighborhood, you should tell as quick as you possibly can. But then on the other end, we have to make sure we have an infrastructure that gives folks an outlet, give them jobs. And as you know, I've been fighting hard to make sure local businesses not only get contracts, but they do something like hire these young folks. So Blue Sky Construction has stepped up to the table. They have, I don't know, probably about 15, 16 young people that are working inside these schools. These schools are going to look good because they're doing construction jobs where people say they could not find talented young folks to pick up a hammer and to be able to frame up. They have done that. So that's why it's important for those type of companies and others to do the same thing. So, of course, Councilman Barry, who's like no other. I think this week we've been together 2 or 3 times here in Ward 8, fighting to make a difference. So thank you for all the work that you're doing. But for the people that aren't here, that are out doing the right thing, that couldn't make it, for all the people that might not have a chance to say anything on the microphone, let's give them a round of applause because they're the true heroes to change. Thank you. God bless.
I want to, first of all, let it be clear that we couldn't do all the work we do without all our partners out here. And I want to be clear on that. The Peaceoholics is not an organization that does all this work by themselves. We have support, and I see a lot of our partners out here, ERCP, Far Southeast Collaborative, Roving Leaders. I see the Trust out here, Children Youth Investment Corporation. A lot of these Parent Watch, a lot of these people have supported us and helped us do what we do. The World Bank, thanks for the furniture that's upstairs. I mean, I'd like to thank everybody who supports us in everything we do, and it takes a village. So I want to be clear on that. And the other thing I want to be clear on is because there was an article in the paper and people got it misconstrued about us. I don't believe in snitching. If you commit a crime with somebody, you need to do your time. I'm talking about the people out here who are honest citizens. You not snitching, you doing the right thing. Look up the definition of a citizen and learn what a citizen is. And once you understand that, you'll know if you snitching or not. But we cannot be caged in our communities and scared to come outside. You know, we're not in Iraq. We in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. And that's the way we're supposed to be living. So let's be clear on that. And another parable I'd like to share with you before I pass it to Big G, who's going to be putting it down in the streets and the go-go's. We got Trey over there from UCB and a lot of other people from the go-go community here. But when people get locked up in jail and they get comfortable in jail, they start doing their time and they going to school and they got their mindset right. And they bidding and they trying to go home to their family. Guess what? When a fool comes in the block and does a lot of crazy stuff, guess what they do? They drop a note on them. Don't nobody call snitch and they get his butt off the block. Get that crazy fool off our block because he not going to mess it up for everybody. So don't let these dudes on the street tell you doing something wrong, because when they get locked up, that's what they do. They drop notes. They call kites in the penitentiary. When somebody come and mess it up, they don't let nobody mess it up for everybody. So understand the culture. You not snitching if you're not involved in the crime. Because when they get locked up and they get their mindset right and they start doing what's right, when somebody come and mess it up, breaking in people's lockers, stealing, stabbing people, they drop a note on them to get his butt off the block. So, and I'm telling the youngest that who out here, understand that what snitching is. Understand if somebody out the window looking and they hear a bunch of gunshots and they see you running by with a gun, you better not touch them because they ain't doing nothing wrong. They doing what a citizen supposed to do. And if you that crazy to shoot somebody in front of somebody where they can see you, your butt need to go to jail. Come on, Big G, give it to him.
Big G. Big G.
How y'all doing today? I'd like to thank the mayor, the Metropolitan Police Department, Marion Barry, the Peaceoholics, the family members, everybody that's out here in attendance today, the news. First of all, I want to stand up and I want to put myself on the pedestal to go out here in this hood right now, because these older guys is coming home from the penitentiary. Y'all not being examples, y'all not setting examples. Y'all watching these little guys run around with these assault rifles, shooting innocent people, scatter firing, hitting little kids on bikes. The bullets might go through a building, hit an old lady while she in there sewing, then live their whole life. It's horrible right now. Man, I'm so disgusted at the things that's going on in the hood right now with these dudes. I hear people talking in restaurants and the club all the time. We have a messed up mentality right now. We're not setting an example. We're not showing the youth nothing. We just had a show right here behind Johnson Elementary School. Was it middle school?
Yeah, Johnson.
We had no fights. You had crews that was beefing with each other. The Peaceoholics and the Metropolitan Police Department put that together. We need more of these older guys in our community to help us grab these youngers and teach them, look, find them weapons is not gonna take you nowhere. Okay, I've been off the street for a long time, man. I'm out here, I'm gonna fight this crime. If I gotta die out here, I'm gonna fight this crime, because first of all, the older guys, I'm upset with you guys. Why I keep on stressing that? Because I see you older guys all the time. You stand on the corner, y'all not telling the little guys nothing. You let them hustle. You're not gonna get $1 million selling no little $10 rocks. Get you a job, get your apprenticeship program. You got Blue Sky Construction out here. You got the Peaceoholics. The mayor is extending the jobs out here. Marion Barry gave me my first job. I was out here in the street. Peaceoholics pulled me off the street. I'm on TV. I got my own radio show, 93.9 WKYS. I had a segment on there with Mo this Sunday about the violence. We got my young sisters out here that's thinking they cute, banging and riding with these gangs, these girl gangs. We gotta shut this down. I'm gonna be out here in the community, all that looking fly, trying to do this and hustle, stealing old people cars. We gotta help the community. So all the older guys out here, I'm calling on the gangsters. The ones that did 10 and 15, 20 years in the penitentiary, you coming home, we need your help. I'm asking y'all right now, we gotta stop this killing. All my little homies riding around, we gotta take you by the hand. You're not too cool to be smart. That's all I gotta say. I'm out here.
What I want to say about Big G, I remember when me and Jahar used to wrestle with him. G come to a meeting with 4 guns on him. Can barely walk. And got shot up on the stage while he was performing one time. And the people don't know Big G, he was something. And to see him change, to see, like, I remember when he kept on going up New York and auditioning, trying to get into the movies and everything, and people come, man, ain't nobody gonna get you on put you on no movie or no show. Same thing they told us, ain't nobody gonna give you no money to work with no children because y'all ex-offenders. But we know that you can defy all odds if you really believe in God. And that's what G did. G kept going up there. Next thing you know, he on the wire. He on the wire 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. He in videos. Now he just shot an episode on Law and Order. And he about to do some big and better things. And he's showing the youngest that you can leave the streets and do whatever you want to do if you put your mind to it. But if you want to be a coward, once somebody come and reach you and show you the way and keep on doing that crazy stuff, your butt got to go to jail. I saw the article in the Washington Post, and they talking about youngins don't need to get locked up. Guess what? If a youngin out here blowing somebody's brains out, he need to go to jail. Because when it happens to your mother, your father, you're going to have a problem with it. And part of the problem is a lot of young folks think they can do whatever they want to do, and there ain't no consequences. And whether it's you coming on the street, and you got real third-party monitoring, where somebody really monitoring you and making sure you do the right thing, I'm cool with that. But I ain't with young people committing a crime where they carjacking an old lady and come back on the street and get a smack on the wrist, and then nobody don't teach them nothing. Because I know if I didn't get taught a lesson, I would still think it's a joke. And I'm not trying to set these young people up to get 30 and 40 years. They need to be taught the right way. They don't need to be in the jail, you right. But if they go down Oak Hill, they need to be taught something. Don't go on Oak Hill with an empty head and leave out of Oak Hill with an empty head. Because if we doing that, we set them up for failure. And before I see them go to Oak Hill and come out with nothing, I'd rather them go to jail like J-Rock, like the dude in the Washington Post who we tried to work with, who we took on a retreat, and he came home the next day and committed a robbery. We spent thousands of dollars taking their neighborhood out, and then the ones who listen, some of them working right now. The girls from Chopper City, they going to college right now. We stayed on their butt. We stayed on their butt. We didn't go for nothing. We called their parents, we stayed on their butt. The other one, one of the leads from Chopper City, he worked for Wassa now. He got his GED at Covenant House. We stayed on his butt. His mother stayed on his butt. So don't tell me these youngers don't need no tough love, because your brains ain't the ones getting splattered. You don't see your children's brains getting splattered. So don't tell me how to work with my children. We know what they need. They need love and an opportunity. And there ain't no other way. So I want to, before we close, I want to bring a few people up to say a few words. One of them is Reverend Isaac. And what's special about this brother, I remember when me and Jahar started and we was coming home from Oak Hill, and my car ran out of gas on the highway, and I was like, Jahar, man, I can't do this no more. I can't do this free stuff no more, man. I'm about to be put out of my house. I can't pay my rent and nothing. And we used to always go to this brother right here and be like, Reverend Isaac, you got some type of grant, some type of work we can do? And he always would find some money so we can pay the rent, so we can go do an outreach program or something. And we got to have more people like this in the community, because there's a lot of people like us who in different parts of the city doing good work, but they're not getting supported. You can go to every community in the city and you got a house that all the children feel comfortable going over, but nobody's supporting them. They don't even realize the power that they have, but they just doing it from the heart. And we need to support those people, because that's what's going to change what's going on. Putting a code on the street, that's what's going to change what's going on. So I want you to say a few words, and I want Mr. White to say a few words, because we're going to make this block a model block. We're gonna make sure every young person on this block get a job. We're gonna make sure every person get in school. We're gonna make sure every brother, if they want to go to college, go to college. And if they don't want to do what's right, we're gonna make sure they get what they need. And then when they come back out, we still gonna be there for them. And guess what? We in Oak Hill right now, and we about to get into jail. So when they go there, we'll work with them there too. So I'd like to bring you up, Red. I love you, man. Because if it wasn't for you, I don't know we'd be here either, man.
All right. This is everybody. Give everybody in God a big hand. We've stated today that Mo has stated that it takes a village to raise a child. Being a member of the faith community, I want to commend Wynn and I saw Pastor McPherson, because also it takes a church to raise a village. I want to challenge other church and clergy to open your doors, to come out of the safety and sanctity of your sanctuaries and pulpits and begin to join arms with those who are in the community. I want to commend our very committed and focused mayor. I want to commend our very conscientious council members, our very committed core in the community, because it takes collaboration and all of us working together to build this community into the communities that we would have. So I thank Mo, I thank all who are here, and we're just glad to be a part of this great effort.
All right, Reverend.
Well, first of all, I'm going to give good grace to the good Lord for all us being here today.
How about that?
All right.
And for everybody here from the community, the mayor,
Mayor.
the senior mayor, and all that's involved. But first of all, the violence has to stop. There ain't too much I can say, but already been said. These people that's been around know what's in the street. I know a little about in the street. Me and Corbett King and myself, he's from Foggy Bottom area. We come a long way. And you know, I was just talking to him today. I hadn't talked to him in years, but we remember each other still. But we have to show more love for one another. Love is what we need in our hearts. Love. I mean, that's everybody. Black, white, didn't make no difference. We have to show love for each other. All this stuff, it can cease. We didn't have that trouble, did we? Little fist fight. Once that was over, hey, we talked to each other, rode bikes to each other, whatever. Right. That's right. But at any rate, you know, it's just amazing, and it's beautiful that the Peaceoholics is on the street here now, trying to get things under control. And I got to give him a big hand because, hey, he come down, he talked to me and everything. I try to do my best about keeping it here, but I told him about this parking. We got to do something about the parking. He said, well, Brother White, I'm going to see what I can do. He said, but I can't control everybody that come here. I said, I understand that. I said, but what you do, what you can. That's all I can ask you to do. But in the meantime, I want to give everybody my blessings, and I hope this can be simmered down. These people can stop this violence, and let's just show a little more love. We need to love one another more so than what we're doing today.
Thank you, Mr. White. Before we close, I'd like to bring some of the youth up. Muhammad, Dina, James. Come here, James. Come here. This young sister right here was from Anacostia. I know y'all remember seeing him on the news all the time. Chopper City this, Chopper City that. She's going to Shaw University now. All right. And her and her two sisters. And we went down there ourselves because this is one thing we got to work on in them schools, getting them children ready for college. Because none of the counselors had them prepared. But we took them down there and told them their story. And they're going to Shaw and Bennett.
Sean
Winston-Salem. So Jahar had the staff drive them down there personally. And they did a presentation to the presidents of the colleges. And they accepted them on this short notice. So I'm just saying we got to do a better job in there, but I want her to say a few words because sometimes we still fight each other. You know, I'm a Scorpio and I don't go for nothing, and she, you know, but look, she has changed so much, and I'm so happy for her and her sisters. Man, they've done. I mean, from them changing, a lot of other girls changed. We done a lot of things with the roving leaders when we took children on retreats, and they did a retreat with us when we took the girl cruise from out the city, and they facilitated it with other girls, and that's helped us reduce a lot of stuff that's going on with girls in the city and us being able to get to them when something is wrong because we develop a relationship with them. And I just want to thank you and pay my tribute to you for what you've done. But I want you to say a few words about what the type of work you're doing now, about going to Malcolm X and reaching the other children now who were doing the things you had did and telling them that's not the way to go, and you know, about what you got out of everything you learned before you go to college.
Hello, how you doing? I'm Medina. Moten caught me on the spot now. Well, basically what I do now, I go to elementary school, which is one on Malcolm X, and I had to speak to the younger youth there, and they have like their little crews there, which I was doing. And it's okay to be with your crew, but it's like what you do with the crew. Like when I was with Chopper City, all we did was have a fight. We thought that was what it was about. And Malcolm X, that's what they do there. They just saying what we do, and they just doing the same thing. And they think about jumping and fighting or whatever, because they got older sisters that tell them that's what they supposed to do. But I actually went there for my job because I seen these little kids and they were just doing the same thing I was doing. I was like, dang, they bad. I was like, I don't want to deal with them. But then I realized that was me at one point. So who wanted to deal with me? So I had to realize that I had to reach out to these little girls. And once I reached out into like the main one, like the leader, once you get the leader, you got the rest, because the rest gonna follow. You reach one, and the leader need is really love. It's like a lot of kids these days, they don't have the love. The parents don't show them love. They probably discipline them, but they not showing the love when they do discipline. They probably whip them, but it's not the love that's shown there when they do whip them. So it's like a lot of love that's missing, that's missing in the youth. So from Peaceoholics, I could say that I won't say I wasn't missing love, but it was other things that I could say I had problems. I had a bad attitude, which I'm still working on. And Peaceoholics, I could say they really was patient with me, and they took their time with me. So with Malcolm X, I had to take my time with them. One time I was like, man, I can't do it no more. They too grown, they too bad. But then I realized if you keep your patience, because you give up on them, that's like what everybody else doing too. They just give up. Right. But if you stick with them, they're gonna stick with you. Eventually, they're gonna be with you. That's all I gotta say.
And I like to bring Muhammad up. And Muhammad is a young brother who we met, and he's away in college as well. He's doing a great job in school. And when he comes back, he always comes back to the Peaceoholics and helps us out. Right now, he's facilitating a project that we're doing with the Law and Justice Institute? Yeah. The Law and Justice Institute and the U.S. Attorney's Office, where the young people are talking about the violence. What are the causes of violence? And they're going to have $30,000 to come up with a solution is, and they're going to get to put the message out themselves on how we should deal with it. And that's what it's all about. And he's facilitating it. And hard as it is for me to stay out the group, the children are doing this, and there's over 60 of them that come here twice a week to do this. And that's what we got to do, get the children involved, get them in college, have them come back and reach out to the other youth, and we can help change the things the same way it was done in the 60s. The youth have to be involved in this movement of changing violence.
Thank you. I just like to say that Peaceoholics kept me on my feet. I mean, I didn't come from a bad neighborhood, but my family members did. And I got caught up hanging with them, and I might have got into some things that I shouldn't have got into. But basically what Peaceoholics did was they put my priorities set. They set them. They said, look, you got too much going for you. You need to get out of this. You need to start focusing on this. And that's what I did pretty much. It didn't take too much for me to get there. You know, so that's what Peaceoholics did for me. And I just like to encourage any youth who want to come to the program. It's on Mondays and Wednesdays from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And we have a good time in there. You know, we talk about a lot of issues. And I mean, I don't know. I'm just glad that I met Peaceoholics and with them now, and it's real flattering to see a lot of brothers come and young sisters come to, you know, something that somebody asked me to facilitate, and you know, the respect that they give me, you know what I'm saying, and the respect that I give them is mutual. But just for them to sit there and listen to me, you know, when we actually do what we do, that's pretty humbling to me. So I just want to thank Peaceoholics, and that's all I gotta say.
And last, I'd like to bring up Neil Albert. And this guy, Albert Hearn. Neil Albert is in my head. He's the first person that gave us a contract, a grant. When everybody told him not to, he was the first person, so he sticks in my head. Albert Hearn. This man is special to me because I never thought it'd be a day I sit across the table with somebody from the U.S. Attorney's Office. And the reason why I say he's special is because his first thought is not locking children up. And they've given us opportunities when we go say, look, we can save that child right there, give us a chance with them, when normally they wouldn't have gave that child a chance. They've given us the opportunity to work with some children and nobody would thought about letting out a Oak Hill or the jail. So it takes a special person to do that. And yes, we have to have consequences, but yes, sometimes we have to give people a chance. And he understands that, and he believes in a community-based approach where everybody's working together in our VIP unit, all the different organizations, to stop this violence. And we work together as a team with the U.S. Attorney's Office. He come to us and say, look, these guys right here, y'all better go get them before we had to get them. And we go right to the neighborhood and say, look, y'all better listen to us or this going to happen. Now it's up to them to listen, but at least somebody's being fair enough to give them an opportunity to change the behavior that they have. And that's all we ask for. That's all we ask for. So people just know that sometimes they give you a chance. This one dude in the U.S. Attorney's Office who give people a chance. When we go to him, he fights sometimes. It's people who we know, and y'all know what I'm talking about, who done some things, and we got y'all out of jail, and that's the reason why. So I'm just saying, don't think that everybody is working against you, but there has to be some accountability. And if everybody just thought that we let people do what they do, and we wouldn't have no trust in the community, we wouldn't be able to go to people like Albert Hearn and say, look, give us a chance with this brother. So I'd like you to say a few words, man. I really thank your commitment to the community and giving a lot of brothers a second chance.
It's only good manners for the last person to be brief, and I promise I'll stick with that. I want to thank Mo and Peaceoholics and many of the other partners I see here from the Violence Intervention Partnership, roving leaders, and Reverend Isaac from ERCPCP, the city, represented by the mayor and the city council members. I can't say how much it means to me that as a prosecutor with the U.S. Attorney's Office, I am welcomed into this community, and that is not something that everybody in my office can say. I know from the work that I've done with Peaceoholics and the many hours and days that I've spent here that the work that they do with young people from a community that many people have written off is work that is actually making a difference and enabling us as a city to turn the corner and begin to see that the promise of children from these communities is no different than the promise of children from many other communities. Whether we define them as at-risk youth, high-risk youth, or youth in general, these are folks who are capable of doing just as much as people from other parts of the city if they have the right support, the right structure, and the right programming in order to make their potential realized in the same way that people from other parts of Washington, D.C. The work that Peaceoholics has done in this area is work that is worthy of support. I'm glad to see the mayor and city council members here and members from the media here to hear about it, because this is the kind of work that we need to replicate throughout the District of Columbia, and it's the kind of work that will ultimately make the difference between what our city has been and what it is yet to become. Thank you very much.
Thank you. In closing, I'd like to say to people who are watching on TV, if you're a leader in your community and want to go on this retreat, where we're taking people from all over the city, soldiers and soldierettes who got some pull and want to come back and put it down, 202-562-1971. We're doing a retreat at the end of the month, and we're going to come back and put it down in the jails, in the community, in the schools, everywhere. And also, I'd like to make an announcement. This Friday at 7D, Governor O'Malley is coming from Maryland, and they're going to have a press conference about us dealing with these guns that are flooding our city from Maryland and also Virginia. We had a guy about 3 weeks ago who had an M30 on this block. Where do you get M30s from? Where did you get AK? They only have M30s in Iraq. Where they coming from? We got to find out what we going to do about it. That's another thing. You know, we got these satellites up here. We need to find out where these M30s, AK-47s coming from. And I'd also like to announce Mr. Malone and the 100 Fathers are doing an initiative. We're going to join them with zero tolerance for murder. Zero tolerance for murder. It's a movement that they have going, and we're going to support them on that. I also would like to take any questions from the media, if anybody has any questions.
I had a question. You're focusing on the drive-bys. Have you seen that there has been an increase lately in the drive-bys, or some kind of a change lately?
Yes, there are a lot of drive-bys. There are a lot of shootings that don't even make the news, you know, all the time. And I said it about 6 months ago. We were in a meeting with the government. I said, I've been doing this work since 1975, and I haven't seen this many beefs at one time with different people from different neighborhoods. So we got a lot of work. It's like we put out one fire, and that's like a campfire, but we're dealing with a forest fire. That's why we got to bring the streets in. We got to bring everybody into the equation in dealing with this violence. So, you know, yes, there is an increase of drive-by shootings. And luckily we have some good doctors, and we've been saving a lot of lives, but if it wasn't for that, we'd be in trouble. Okay, you can come and say. Oh, Mr. White said, okay, Mr. White said the police got to get out the automobiles. Any other questions? No more questions. Okay, thank you all for coming out.